Welcome to this late night edition of U Central News. I'm MC.
And I'm Dylan Stieber. Today we're getting into the latest in the coronavirus pandemic and what's popping on social media.
Plus the newest things happening in our gaming with Esports anchor Ty Wallace.
Thanks, guys. Tonight we'll be covering some of the early reviews on Cyberpunk and a little bit of a controversy with Genshin Impact. More on that later.
And now let's take a look at Oklahoma's COVID numbers. The Oklahoma State Department of Health reported 1,900 new cases Monday. This brings the active case count to nearly 32,000, and 15 more people have died from the virus. And UCO's COVID-19 dashboard shows 60 active cases, bringing the total case count up to 661. Out of the student body here on campus, 606 students have tested positive, while only 54 faculty and staff members have tested positive in total. We will keep you updated as more numbers come in.
And new today, the UK begins distributing Pfizer's second coronavirus vaccine. The patient, William Shakespeare, received the shot just 20 miles from the birthplace of the famous English playwright. The vaccine is a two-shot series, with the second dose coming 3 weeks after the first. The first 800,000 doses are going to people over 80 who are at the highest risk for contracting the virus. UCO making an official comment yesterday on the possible super spreader event held here on campus. Oklahoma students caught on camera celebrating a state championship. The picture immediately sparking controversy. The picture shows a large group of Jinx students shoulder to shoulder, many not wearing masks. UCO says they are disappointed with those who do not follow protocols. OSSAA says plans are now in the works to make sure this does not happen again.
It's a question of black and white. It's a question of any kind of reporter being in the wrong place at the wrong time could be perceived as a threat by someone and have something happen.
Diversity in journalism and the threats POC reporters deal with in the field is getting the spotlight. This week on the 5th episode of Central Diversity, the panel filled with journalism students and professionals discussed the topics like the war on media and LGBTQ+ inclusion. To watch the full episode, head to our Facebook. Transportation and Parking Services will be providing students who have a 2020 to 2021 annual parking permit a prorated credit.
That's right. No action is required to receive this credit. It will be applied automatically to student accounts in the coming weeks. UCO and esports this year has been transformative for gamers at the university.
With the pandemic, more people now than ever have picked up a controller and some new habits. Joining us now is esports anchor Ty Wallace and a special guest. Remember, if you're watching live on Twitch or YouTube, you can include your questions. Ty?
Thanks, guys. I have Alex here with me. We're going to be asking him a few questions about Cyberpunk. It's out this week. Some of the early reviews are coming. I'll be expanding on that a little bit later, but what are your initial thoughts on just everything so far?
Well, I mean, I think we've seen Cyberpunk 2077 get delayed, what, like 3 times? 2 days away now. You know, I think a lot of gamers all over the U.S., probably all around the world, are just kind of like looking forward to this game. But I do want to kind of like throw it out there, like these poor developers, though. These last 3 months have just been brutal, I bet, with just crunch and everything. But the end product is going to look so amazing, and it's just going to look so much fun. It's going to be a smaller world, smaller than The Witcher 3, but CD Projekt Red has come out saying that it's more dense than The Witcher. So I think that is something so cool to explore in Cyberpunk 2077.
I've heard there's going to be a lot of verticality to it instead of horizontality, whatever that would be. And so my next question is, what are you going to play it on?
So, as I am a broke college student, as most of our viewers might be as well, I'm going to be playing it on my Xbox One, the original. So I'm probably going to have some choppy frames and some maybe buggy cutscenes, but I think that's all right. I'm okay with like looking past some of that stuff for the experience of the game. I really don't want to miss out on that. And since it's all ready for, at least for Xbox, and I think for PlayStation as well, where if you buy the previous console's version, it's an automatic upgrade for free to go to the next console. So I'll be probably playing it multiple times. I know there's multiple playthroughs that you can do of it. I'm super excited.
All right, well, that's all we have over here. Back to you all at the desk.
Let's get started with our question of the day. What is your favorite Christmas movie? We want you to connect with us. Find our question of the day on Facebook. We will check back in with your answers at the end of our show.
Stop scrolling on your phones because we've got all your social media news right here.
U Central is joining us with what's trending.
Our first topic today is the new Warner Brothers deal with HBO's streaming service, HBO Max. Just this week, Warner Brothers announced that their entire 2020 film lineup will be shared exclusively with HBO Max due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The decision was met with mixed feedback from the moviegoers and the film industry alike. One of the most famous critics' recent deal is famed director Christopher Nolan. The Warner Brothers director shared that it was not a good business decision and criticized how the company handled it. Fans of John Lennon are gathering on Twitter today to pay their respects on their 40th anniversary of his death. Today, in 1980, the legendary member of the Beatles was murdered outside his apartment in New York City. On the official Twitter page for the icon, one of his most famous lyrics is shared: "Imagine all the people living life in peace." The tweet also asks fans to share their tributes to the singer to never forget the life of Lennon. Well, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss out on anything UCentral News. Give us a follow on Twitter at UCentral Media and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/UCentral. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Alex. Gamers unite. There are new releases, gaming news, and much more.
Let's get to UCentral's esports anchor Ty Wallace with the latest. Ty, what you got for us?
Thanks, guys. A lot of interesting stuff has been happening this week in the world of gaming. Starting off, yesterday's Cyberpunk written embargo was lifted, allowing reviewers to post their thoughts on the game. Notice how I said written? Reviewers were not allowed to capture their own in-game footage and can only use video from gameplay and trailers that CD Projekt Red had already released. Most of the reviews had a couple of common notes. The game is stunning visually, and the gameplay is pretty good. The main campaign only runs about 15 to 20 hours, but there is so much in the game that the total playtime is much longer. Reviewers also noted that the game is very buggy. Many said that dialogue would sometimes repeat and interrupt other important dialogue. Along with this, many media outlets stated that they were not given review codes, leading some to believe that CD Projekt Red wanted to hide as many of the game's flaws as they could before release. In Genshin Impact, players are taking to the digital streets to protest some anti-consumer practices MiHoYo is leaning on. The newest playable 5-star character, Zhongli, is now summonable in-game using a gacha system, like all other characters in the game. Gacha is basically like gambling with loot boxes, although usually one pull from a gacha system results in one item. In Genshin, there's only a 0.06 chance of receiving a 5-star character, and receiving duplicates of that character earns you a constellation level, where arguably most of Zhongli's power is locked away. Worst case scenario, it would cost a person $2,567 to get a fully leveled 5-star character. Over on the Chinese forums, players have found a legal loophole to fight back. If someone requests an invoice, MiHoYo is required to mail them a physical invoice in the mail. This seems small, but when thousands of angry gamers simultaneously request invoices, MiHoYo gets in deep trouble if they can't keep up. The Avengers game is showing signs of life this week with their first post-launch hero, Kate Bishop. Kate is Hawkeye's sidekick and comes with the signature bow and arrow. She also is a master swordswoman and has the ability to teleport. Avengers have had a pretty rough start with some substantial bugs and optimization issues. Steam chart shows that the game started with a peak player count of 28,000 players and has quickly dropped after the September launch down to an average of about 850 players. The Kate Bishop release is showing only a peak player of about 1,800, but we could see this rise throughout the day. That's all I have for esports today, Broncos. I hope you have a great day. MC Dylan, back to y'all.
Let's check back into our question of the day. What is your favorite Christmas movie? Some of the replies we have here. We have Nightmare Before Christmas, A Christmas Story, even Elf from Andy. We want you to connect with us. You can always find the day's question of the day on our Facebook, so get social and be a part of the show. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of UCentral News.
Make sure to add us on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube at UCentral Media.
Have a great night, Edmund, and don't forget to mask up.